Alright guys, what's up? Today I'm going to teach you how to make this kind of sad, melodious song. Anyone who's not a musician will probably think it's pretty impressive, but anyone who is a musician will probably know that there's not that much that goes into it. So yeah, these things are really easy to make. You don't need much skill or talent to really make them, and they're not hard at all, so let's just hop into it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need is some chords. These are super easy to find. They're all over. I found one in G minor. It worked perfectly. For if you're going for a sad feel, you're going to want one in a minor key, obviously, and you can switch it up to a happy feel if you want by just adding chords to the progression. Okay, so this is probably the most tedious part. There's this big MIDI scroll. It looks pretty intimidating, but if you look at it and you really break it down, you'd notice that there's actually just a pattern that goes on here. You have all of the chords laid out, and then they're all just arpeggiated up the scale. As you can see here, it goes by eighth notes. There's an eighth note, and then the next note in the chord, and then it just keeps going up. That's what it is for all of these. And then there's these notes in between. That could be the melody, and then there's just the bass notes, and that's pretty much all it is. So all you have to do is follow a pattern and repeat this for all of the chords. So if we move to another pattern here, you can see all you have to do in FL, that is, makes it a lot easier. You go to stamp. Let's do a major seventh here. You stamp it on, and then you can go ahead and use a strumizer, and that'll create the space in between the notes that you want instead of having to click every single one by hand. So this will probably take like an hour, maybe two in GarageBand. I finished this in about 25 minutes because I could take all these shortcuts, but it is possible in GarageBand. This is the only part I'm going to do in FL. So now we're back to GarageBand. All I did basically was I exported the score and I imported the file into GarageBand. We have all the score, we have the sustain, we also have the velocity, and it's all relatively high right now, and that's gonna come in later. Um, I'll just let it play now so you can see what it sounds like. So yeah, pretty basic piano, but that's gonna change. Okay, so now I'm just gonna let you hear what it's gonna sound like in the end. Now I know you're asking, what sets this apart from the thing we heard earlier other than the sound? The answer is effects. Okay, so the first thing that's really important to do is to lower the velocity. Grand pianos make a totally different, way softer sound when the velocity is low. So just open up automation on your edit, and as you can see, most of my velocity is around 52, but I do have some variation in there to make it sound less bland. I just put those up with the little line tool. Okay, so the second thing I did is I went over to controls. I put the low and I put the high up to give it more volume. Moving on to the compressor, you're going to want some compression to even out the volume. Delay is not as important, but I put a good amount of ambience and a good amount of reverb on. So the last thing I did is I just added a quick bass. It just on a clean 808. You can't really hear it much because the volume's down and it's really faint. Okay, and we're done with the music, so all we have to do is find an image that represents how quirky and depressed we are, and a name that's equally depressing.